Hey guys, this is MindCast with your host, Kevin Seaman, where we talk about what's going on in your head. Hi, this is your host of MindCast, Kevin Seaman. I took some time off from writing and producing the MindCast podcast, and now I'm back at it. This MindCast holds a subject that has bewildered mankind since the beginning of our unique existence. It has to do with how you think about, perceive, and process what you see and experience. The truly extraordinary human quality we possess is without a doubt our ability to direct our thoughts creatively and to definitively change our outlook based on additional input of information. These aha moments are due to shifts in our paradigms. But what exactly are paradigms, and how do they have such an life-altering effect on our behavior? Stay with me here as I change your understanding of how paradigms shift your outlook in ways that will change how you view things forever. The phrase paradigm shift actually was a term coined by an American philosopher and physicist, Thomas Kuhn. The basis was in reference to what is referred to as a paradigm theory, which is a general theory used by scientists working in a particular field, providing a broad framework of assumptions, methodologies, and key concepts related to their conceptual scheme. This helps establish a strong model of solid science within a field of study. A paradigm shift occurs when one paradigm theory is replaced by another. To use an analogy, a paradigm is much like a map or an approach. If you had a map of just the roads on your journey across country, you would immediately realize that this map was not an exact depiction of your journey. Oh yeah, it would show the road, but it wouldn't show the elevation or the quality of the roads you were traveling on. It wouldn't show the traffic. It wouldn't show the construction or detours. In other words, it wouldn't be an exact replica of the road you were driving on. Once you finish your trip, you would have a completely different paradigm as to what your journey really looked like. And it would look absolutely different now than before you began, when you only looked at the map. That is what a paradigm shift is. It adjusts the specifics of your insight. But as I mentioned before, when you adjust your insight, you often adjust your outlook as well, because you have new information at which you view the situation or subject. When these paradigm shifts occur, they change how you look at things from that moment on. In the medical field, there was a huge life-altering paradigm shift in relation to infection causing death due to bacteria. Once doctors realized that most of the deaths in war were caused not by the injuries, but because of infestation of bacteria, which caused infection and eventually death. This was due to the unsanitary conditions in the field during battle. Once this process was revealed and understood, sanitary conditions were followed more closely, and those effects were seen less. The way we see the problem often is the problem. So when a paradigm shift occurs, in some sense, the world changes. Or to put it another way, scientists working under different paradigms are studying different worlds. In the case I just mentioned, the microscopic world. Before Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, anyone comparing a human face and a monkey's face would be struck by the differences. After Darwin's work came out, however, they would be struck by the similarities. Here's a great metaphor. Seeing a different paradigm is kind of like seeing things through a different pair of glasses. Let me elaborate. If by accident I picked up someone else's glasses, my vision would be altered. It would look different to the point that I may not see it as I once had. I would now see the world differently. A paradigm is how we see our world. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. There are two major types of paradigms. There are reality-based paradigms and there are value-based paradigms. A reality-based paradigm is based on how things actually are, whereas a value-based paradigm is about how we think things should be. Once again, We often don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Many times we think the world should work or be a certain way. This is usually established on our personal value base. We have certain values we live by, and therefore we sometimes feel that's how the world and everyone else should see it as well. But the reality base is not congruent to those values we hold. It is as it is, not as we want it to be. It just is what it is. I once heard a friend tell me that wanting the world to be fair and to be the way we want it is like believing a tiger shouldn't eat you because you wouldn't eat it. Okay, we're going to take a brief moment to thank our sponsors of MindCast, but we will be right back with you as we discover some of the most interesting things that paradigm shifts do to change your life decisions and change your overall outlook, making them the most important factor in your personal growth. Our first sponsor is Dolorex. Dolor is a French word for pain. RX comes from the Latin word for recipe. Well, let me tell you this. This is one of the best recipes for pain I've ever used. This is a product that works, guys. I have tried a lot of pain management products over the years, and I personally used the Dolorex CBD cream and the roll-on. And as a coach and a very physical athlete, I've had outstanding results with these topical creams. I've also given them to my staff and clients who've had equally outstanding results. In addition, I've also had equally great results with the powdered CBD drink, especially as a compound factor for injury and related pain. And in addition to pain management, it's given me a feeling of calm and helped me fall asleep more quickly and wake refreshed and ready for the next day. Dolorex proprietary topical pain management cream combines scientifically proven analgesic ingredients infused with an advanced proprietary nano CBD hemp oil that penetrates deeply and quickly into the skin to manage pain at the source. The fine folks at Dolorex back their quality products with 100% money-back guarantee within 30 days of delivery. That's DOULEURX. Look for the green and white label. Use the product code MindCast to receive a 20% discount on your order. Check them out at Dolorex.com. We also have a new associate sponsor of MindCast, Bulletproof. Bulletproof makes high-quality products that view food as fuel. Bulletproof coffee, MCT oil, keto products, and their entire nutritional line are made with the finest ingredients using health-friendly fats and ingredients. Check out their entire line at bulletproof.com. Enter the promo code MindCast to receive a 15% discount on your order. That's bulletproof.com. All right, we're back. The most interesting in relation to paradigm shifts for me is how they relate to our growth and maturity. I read once that as we go through our life, we actually progress through several lives that we experience, and that with each one of those lives, our perspective and outlook changes. This concept really intrigues me. When we are born and as an infant, we experienced our first life. It is one that is predominantly natural, bound by the care and the love of our parents or caregivers. We are innocent and vulnerable, growing and evolving into what we will be someday in the future. As time passes and we are little kids, we experience our lives as a growing, still innocent, still vulnerable, impressionable youth, devoid of prejudices, easily pleased, and often not really having any responsibilities or trauma to dilute our outlook. We just live each day and take it for what it is, learning as we go along. During this period, we begin to build our character and many of our beliefs that will follow us into our teens, some into adulthood. This is our second life. It is one of wonder, growth, and experience. When we're teenagers, we are in our third life. It is a life of awkwardness, trying to fit in socially, trying to understand the internal struggles we face, Being a teen is one of the most important learning times in our growth because we develop many of the habits that follow us the rest of our lives. Our teen years are impressionable, torrent, and usually challenging times. We're not kids, but yet we're not adults either. There is fear, hesitation, self-imagery, and a general void of assurance as to our future, as to who we are and who we will become. It is the most tumultuous period of our lives. When we become young adults, we think we have it all figured out. This can be 16 or as late as in our 20s. To quote my late father, Jack Seaman, when you're a teenager, the knowledge fairy comes to you and places all the knowledge of the universe in your ear, and you believe you know everything. But then, when you're in your late 20s, she plucks it out of your head, and you realize you know very little, and that your parents are probably some of the smartest people you've ever known. To this day, I still laugh at that statement. I remember him telling me that when I was having some challenges with one of the children I was raising. This is the fourth life we experience. It's the turning point in our life when we begin to realize that no one is coming to the rescue. If we want to be or do something, it is up to us to make it happen. The next phase, our fifth life, is one of work and direction, with our focus on building our future. We begin to understand our strengths and our weaknesses more fully. We may create a family or a home. This life is usually about searching for security, and our values dramatically change from our earlier years. Our midlife is also one of refinement of the habits, skills, and individualized talents that we've gathered through the previous 4 lives. This life is directed by experience. As we mature, we grow into our 6th life. This life can be both satisfying and frustrating. We will look back at things we have experienced and wonder why we did some of the things we did. We may have a feeling that time is overcoming us and that we have much more to see, experience, and possibly even to accomplish. This life is a time where we have more appreciation, love, and a paradigm shift in values that we may not have experienced in previous years. We may have children or grandchildren to enrich our reason for being here. We may have many things we still want to see or do, and we'll make plans for the 7th life, our life of latter years. This is where your quality of life is becoming increasingly more important, and your health is your greatest wealth. I often reflect on people's behaviors and why they do some of the things they do. But I also realize that I have no basis to judge their behavior because I really don't know or don't have a clear picture or understanding of what they're going through in their lives. When you see someone who's angry or upset, you don't really know what has led up to that emotional state. You don't know what they're going through. Because of this, I think a little love and understanding can go a long way. Here's a story by one of my favorite teachers, Stephen Covey, that I hope will leave you with a greater insight of how a paradigm shift can change someone's understanding. I remember a mini paradigm shift I experienced one Sunday morning on a subway in New York. People were sitting quietly, some reading newspapers, some lost in thought, some resting with their eyes closed. It was a calm and peaceful scene. Then suddenly, a man and his children entered the subway car. The children were so loud and rambunctious that instantly the whole climate changed. The man sat down next to me, his eyes closed, and apparently oblivious to the situation. The children were yelling back and forth, throwing things, even grabbing people's newspapers. It was very disturbing, and yet the man sitting next to me did nothing. It was difficult not to feel irritated. I could not believe that he could be so insensitive as to let his children run wild like that and do nothing about it, taking no responsibility at all. It was easy to see that everyone else on the subway felt irritated too. So finally, with what I felt was unusual patience and restraint, I turned to him and I said, "Sir, Your children are really disturbing a lot of people. I wonder if you couldn't control them a little more." The man lifted his gaze as if to come to a consciousness of the situation for the first time and said softly, "Oh, you're right. I guess I should do something about it. We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago. I don't know what to think, and I guess they don't know how to handle it either." Can you imagine what I felt at that moment? My paradigm shifted. Suddenly, I saw things differently. And because I saw things differently, I thought differently. I felt differently. And I believed differently. My irritation vanished. I didn't have to worry about controlling my attitude or my behavior. My heart was filled with the man's pain. Feelings of sympathy and compassion flowed freely. "Your wife just died? Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you tell me about it? What can I do to help?" Everything changed in an instant. Wow, what a powerful story. As you go through your week, think about how many times you've shifted your paradigms in your life. Take some time to look deeper into the views you have and ask yourself, is this my reality-based paradigm, or is it based on my value base? Also, reflect on the dramatic changes you have personally experienced in your attitude, perceptions, and views you once may have held on to so tight that may now seem so different. Thank you. And thank you to my sponsors of MindCast, Dolorex, CBD, and Bulletproof Products. Remember to use the promo code MindCast to receive your discount on these products when ordering from their respective websites. I stand behind these fine products and use them myself. Again, thank you to the listener. I keep my MindCast show around 20 minutes so you can listen when at the gym, in your car, or doing things around the house. So thank you for tuning in. If you want to check out my books, you can find them on Amazon. If you want to reach out, you can email me at kevin@thewinningmindset.com. Until next time, this is Kevin Seaman, and this is MindCast.